Next, we're going to hear House File 2585, Representative Hassan's bill, and I believe Representative Noor is going to present. It's an issue I know that he's worked on closely with Representative Hassan over a number of years. And look forward to hearing the bill. I'll start off by just making the motion that House File 2585 be laid over for possible inclusion in an omnibus bill. And we'll go to Representative Noor to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you so much, and thanks to Chair Hassan for introducing this bill. Members, this bill makes the dream of homeownership attainable, especially for those who are first-time home buyers, first-generation home buyers who have been completely locked out from homeownership. As you are looking at the data that you just received, it clearly indicates where the gaps are. Black Minnesotans have been significantly impacted when it comes to homeownership, and particularly for those who are new immigrants have been left out from the generational wealth building. What this bill is doing is to provide and establish a program that will offer that opportunity for those who have been left out. In my own district, more than 90% of the people are home renters. In my own district, we have the lowest in terms of the federal poverty guideline. There's a reasoning, there's so many reasons behind it, and there's so many causes behind it. But what this bill is about today is to provide and establish a program that is administered by the NeighborWorks Home to offer that opportunity for those who want to buy a home based on the conditions set in the bill. Members, this is for home buyers who are within or below 130% federal poverty, AMI, who are unable to go through regular mechanism to buy a home. And we're also looking at those who are within the 60% of home owners within the census tracts as indicated in the bill. Mr. Chair and members, I've talked to many folks. And when you talk to members within your district and many places who have not been given this opportunity, it seems to be we are not addressing the needs of the entire state. What this creates is a fee-based program through down payment and other system program that the NeighborWorks Home Partners have already established in some sense. With that, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask my testifier to go over the bill.
Thank you. We'll go to Mr. Peters. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Howard. Good afternoon, all. My name is Jason Peterson, Executive Director with NeighborWorks Home Partners. We are a nonprofit CDFI community lender who has been helping Minnesota families buy, fix, and keep their homes for over 40 years now. Each year, we support approximately 1,000 families through their home ownership journey. NeighborWorks Home Partners, we are one of the primary nonprofit down payment assistance lenders here in the Twin Cities. Over the last 7 years alone, we've provided 1,375 down payment assistance loans. That's helped 1,375 families become homeowners. We've seen the need for our down payment assistance programs grow substantially over the last several years. This is due to a number of reasons, including the limited housing inventory, higher mortgage interest rates, which sound like they'll be going up again after the Fed increased the rate today, and the fact that many of the families we support have not seen their incomes keep pace with inflation. These factors have pushed the dream of homeownership out of reach for too many of our fellow Minnesotans. As you all know, a major challenge we're facing is a lack of housing inventory. I would strongly encourage investments to support an increase in homeownership production in this session, as this is sorely needed for a healthy housing ecosystem. That being said, we have not seen a slowdown in demand for our down payment assistance as families continue to find homes to purchase, with down payment assistance being key. The biggest challenge we see right now is the down payment assistance funds. While the housing inventory has been a challenge, the increase in interest rates has really limited the buying ability and the potential options a family can afford. Given this large need in the community, we currently help families layer several sources of funds to try to get the down payment necessary to purchase a home. This can become very challenging, and oftentimes there is insufficient funding to do this. This program that's presented today will provide the sufficient funds to help up to 200 families purchase a home. In the past, we have piloted the same exact program on a smaller scale with good success. In the initial phase, we helped 16 families buy a home who utilized an interest-free, fee-based first mortgage. This program today is important as it provides a deeper level of affordability to help families achieve their dream of homeownership for a community that has been underserved. And I know that some more information was passed out on this, but as you can see from this information, there's a rather large disparity gap between who owns and does not own a home. Through this program, we anticipate helping approximately 200 families who utilize interest-free, fee-based first mortgage products. The program would be limited to first-time home buyers under the 130% AMI, as Representative Noor presented, who currently live in majority rental census tracts. Our role within this program would be to administer this loan program. This would include loan origination and loan servicing, as well as overall administration of the program. We've recently built our capacity and are prepared to administer a program of this size. Just in the last 2 years alone, we have provided 550 down payment loans. One concern that I've heard that's raised about down payment programs is there is insufficient housing inventory. From our experience, so the question is, will the down payment programs support folks that are able to find homes? In our experience, the answer is yes, there is sufficient inventory. Of those 550 families we've helped in the last 2 years, the average purchase price is $239,448. The average income for these families is $56,355. As the wealth gap continues to increase all across Minnesota, it has become very apparent who is and is not able to purchase a home. As homeownership is the single biggest wealth generator and the best way to end generational poverty, it is important that we support families to achieve this goal. DPA programs are a critical resource to support this work, and I would urge you to support down payment programs through this year's budget, as this is not just a one-time investment, but rather a life-changing investment for families who will benefit for generations to come.
Thank you. With that, we will go to member discussion. Members, let's see, who do we have? Representative Dotsa.
Thank you, Chair Howard. A question I've got is I notice that you require that they must have $1,000 of their own funds for a down payment. Is there conditions of where those funds come from? Would it be from, can the seller contribute that, or is that coming from family members? What does that look like?
Representative Noor, Mr. Peterson.
So the requirement of that would be from the borrower themselves.
From the borrower themselves?
Correct.
Another question would be is occupancy. Once they acquire the property, is there a timeline that they must occupy that home as their primary homestead?
Yes, so there will be an ongoing occupancy requirement. There will be a forgivable nature to this program. If the property is not their primary residency, any portion that is not forgiven would become due.
Representative Dotsa.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go
Chair
ahead.
Howard. What kind of timeline are we looking at for that right now?
Mr. Peterson.
Yep,
Right now, we're looking at a 5-year time horizon for that.
5-year timeline. Thank you.
Representative Cha.
Thank you, Chair Howard. To testify, just to follow up on that, so there's a prepayment penalty, right? If you sell your house before the 5 years, there's a penalty?
Mr. Peterson.
I would not call it a prepayment penalty, but it forgives incrementally. And so there would not be a penalty attached to, but the portion that is not forgiven would become due, yes.
Representative Cha.
And that is within a 5-year period?
And then funds from that would then be, funds received would then be recycled and would be provided to additional borrowers to fund additional folks to purchase homes.
Thank you.
Representative Johnson.
Chair Howard, and to the testifier, and Representative Noor. I like the concept of this bill. It does help. But I also like the fact that you require educational courses dealing with prior to signing the purchase. What's involved. You have to come up with some of their own money, $1,000. And that the buyer must occupy the residence. But what I'm scratching at my head at is why the buyer must complete a landlord education course. If it's for first-time home buyers and they have to live in it, I'm just wondering why they have to go through a landlord course.
Representative Noor or Mr. Peterson?
Yes, thank you. So to clarify, this program would be eligible for, the eligible properties would be 1 to 4 units. And so if they were to purchase a 2 to 4 unit multifamily, they would be required to do landlord education. If they purchased a 1 unit single family home, there would be no landlord education requirement.
Representative Johnson?
To the testifier. So if they bought a fourplex, they would be required to live in one of the units? And if they did not, then the loan would be called immediately?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Any other members? Representative Hussein?
Mr. Noor, Representative Noor, thank you for bringing this bill forward. We do have a housing crisis in Minnesota, and this will help many of community that needs for those housings. And Jason, thanks for working on this, Noor and Representative Hassan and myself for a couple years now, and this will address and help a lot of people that really, really needs for housing in Minnesota. Thank you.
I'll go to Representative Noor for any closing comments, but want to thank you and thank Representative Hassan for work. This is another issue that I know has been discussed about how do we get at this challenge in our communities for years. I represent, or I should say I used to represent the community at Dar al Farouk after redistricting lost them. But participated in a housing forum there just a few weeks ago and heard person after person talk about, this sort of challenge for their community and the desire for more opportunities to enter home ownership. And we also heard a lot about sort of the predatory practice of contract for deeds, an issue that I think we need to take even a closer look at next session as well. But I just really appreciate the work to bring a proposal that responds to a challenge we've heard from our community for years. And so I'll go to Representative Noor for any closing comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members. This is a good bill. I hope you'll include it in your omnibus bill. So thank you so much, members.
Thank you. And with that, the bill is laid over for possible inclusion.